Alright, so Mom, where did you grow up?
In 4 Northeast Philadelphia.
4 Northeast Philadelphia?
Yes.
Was there a name for the suburbs or anything?
No,
You just said
just when people ask where you live, you said the 4 Northeast.
the 4 Northeast. Was there like a county?
No. It was all just part of
It was all just part of the city?
Yeah.
Where did you go to school for grade school and then high school?
Everything was Catholic. So Catholic grade school was Our Lady of Calvary, which was one house down from where we lived.
Only one house down from you lived?
Yeah,
That's so funny because when I was growing up, the school was like literally right down the road. Yeah, 3 houses down.
Right. Well, it was,
It was like 100 yards from our house to walk to school.
Right.
We were on Skellinger, and that's right where St. Raymond's was.
Right.
So you grew up like walking right. School was right next door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
And then where did you go to high school?
Archbishop Ryan, Catholic high school.
Did you like high school?
Yes. Ours was, it was a pretty new high school, but it was divided, girls on half of the building and the boys on the other half. But I did like it.
Yeah.
We didn't have as much problems, I think, as they do now in high school.
There wasn't social media.
Right.
Things were simpler.
Right.
Did you grow up during the time where you had to go underneath your desk?
Yes, that was in grade school.
Okay, so by high school that was over?
Yeah, that was over by high school.
The whole scare about so when you're growing up and during grade school, that was during the whole Cold War scare and people thinking women get nuked and all that?
Yes. Yeah, that was in grade school.
Okay. And did you think anything of it, or was this like
in grade school, right? Yeah, we just
going underneath your desks?
Yeah, we were hiding under a desk.
Like that's
although even at that young age, I pretty much figured out that if there's a bomb coming, I'm pretty sure
my desk isn't going to help you. Yeah. Maybe if you're like on the outer edges, like 150 miles away, I guess, and the glass blows out, it'll just save you from getting hit by the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so after high school, did you immediately go into nursing school?
No, because I tried working down in Center City, Philadelphia, in the business. I went into business.
Into business is what?
Well, back then, you didn't have much of a choice. After high school, your business was you go in as a secretary or a typist, stenographer. So that was the entry level for right out of high school.
So you were a stenographer?
Yes.
And what is that? You write down notes?
Yeah.
For meetings?
Yeah. Well, they used to dictate their letters. It was shorthand. So it had a letter that you would sit there and write in shorthand.
What does that? What does shorthand mean? Just like
shorthand was instead of writing like
everything you're saying, you're just shortening it.
No, well, it was all like circles and lines.
Oh, you're not using a typewriter?
No.
So stenography is writing notes.
It's not even. It's like it would be like just lines and circles instead of words, and then you had to go back and then type it. You had to learn
I'll
that
have
in
to
high
study.
school.
I'll have to study that because I know, like lines and circles meant words.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I've heard of shorthand before, but okay. So then you would use that and you would type it up on a typewriter afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay. So did people have to do that like for courts and business meetings? They would have the stenographer to take shorthand to keep notes of what went on?
Keep notes of what went on, yeah.
And for letters as well? So when in the letter, they would come and say, send a letter to my uncle, blah, Jim.
Right.
Tell him the wife is doing okay, the children, blah, blah, blah. And you just shorthand all of it, and then you type up the letter.
Yeah, right.
And mail it out.
Type it up. Yep.
That's just funny. I saw a show about that, but I didn't know it was a real thing. I thought it was made up.
Yep. Way back then, you didn't have dictation, so.
I've never seen that in any movie or anything depicted.
Well, maybe back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
About it.
50s and 60s were a pretty good time to grow up, right?
Yeah.
Pretty prosperous, middle class, post World War
Well,
II.
right. It was middle class.
And people were doing pretty well, and anyone could get a job and do pretty well for themselves.
Right.
And people usually marry younger, right? So like by 22, most people weren't married, right?
Yeah, early 20s. Most of the time got married early 20s.
Yeah. People grew up a lot quicker back then.
Right, yeah.
And nowadays, like, adolescence has been extended outward further as people refer to people in college as college kids. So
Right,
between ages of 18 and 22, they're looked at as
They're
kids.
looked at kids, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you got it.
Before it was like when you're 18,
graduated,
you're an
right,
adult.
you were 18, you were an adult.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So after doing the sonography for a while, you didn't like it. So how did you decide nursing school?
I first went to college because I didn't want to stay in the business, so I went to college.
Was it because it was boring?
It wasn't for me. That environment, the work environment, wasn't what I wanted. But I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I did a year of college, and then I decided nursing. Just from talking to my friends that were already working.
What drew you to nursing?
What's that?
What drew you to nursing?
I think because I talked to a couple of my friends, and then I was in the hospital they used to put you in the hospital for minor surgery. And my girlfriend that I was friends with was already a nurse.
Yeah?
Yeah, so we talked, and I kind of looked into it, and then that's why I decided that's what I wanted.
And what was nursing school? So this is like, I guess, when did you graduate high school? What year?
1973.
1973. And you were born in 55, right?
Yes.
So that makes sense. You're 18. And then when did you graduate nursing school?
Well, I went
1975?
I went into in 1975. I graduated in 77. But 1975, I went in. Back then, you worked when you were in school. So I worked in the hospital, and I went to school.
You're like an intern at the hospital while you're also studying nursing?
Yeah.
So you're like a nurse's aide?
Yeah,
You're back then?
Yeah.
Now you have to go to college first, right? And then...
no, some of the girls still do that.
Some people that go
Work
in the
in
nursing
the
program
hospital,
work in the
right,
hospital
work
as
in the
nurse
hospital.
aides.
Yes, and then...
While studying nursing?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the best way to secure a job.
Right.
You get your foot in the door as a nurse's aide.
Because if you work in the hospital, right, and you're going to school, and the hospital most likely will hire you.
Yeah, once you get your degree.
Yeah.
But before it was just like 2 years, right? And that's all you needed.
Back then was 2 years, yeah.
Was it like so it wasn't like college, right? It was like more like a trade school?
Well, my class was the first class that incorporated college with nursing school.
Oh,
2
before
days
then
a week,
it didn't.
right. No, the class before me just was at the hospital. My class, 2 days a week, we went to Penn State College.
To take courses?
To take college courses, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you were in the hospital working, training as a nurse.
Okay, so we'd study like anatomy, basic biology, chemistry, biochemistry, stuff like that.
Yep.
Like the basics,
Mm-hmm.
learn the pharmaceutical medications,
Yep.
what interacts with what, like.
Well, that's on-the-job training too.
And you also learn on the job,
Yeah.
But you learn about all the medications that are distributed and what.
Well, a lot of that was done through the nursing school.
Yeah.
You did learn a little bit in college,
But mostly it was the nursing school
right.
on the hand.
I learned the meds.
Most people still say they learn more on the job than they learn in college.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's with most, even today, most programs you learn better on the job than in a classroom.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are saying nowadays, like, you're better off, like, say, if you want to be an accountant when you're 18, just study bookkeeping
and get a job.
And get a job as an intern. Let them know that you're interested in bookkeeping. Read some books about it, learn from the bookkeeper, and then you earn money.
You're in the work environment.
And then you work off the bookkeeper, and you learn on the job.
Right.
You learn accounts payable, accounts receivable. I mean, I could have done that stuff out of high school. The accounts payable stuff that I did out of college. Nothing I learned in college really helped me. I was an accounts payable clerk in college.
What's that?
Nothing I did as an accounts payable clerk at work, nothing in college really helped me with that. None of it was really that relevant. I mean, unless when I got to the upper levels, some of the stuff I learned would have been relevant.
Right.
But for the most part, I could have got that job out of high school and did it just fine.
Yes.
You know, because all I was doing was basically copying information that was on paper and typing it up.
Right.
And just using a software program that I was taught how to use over like a course of a week.
Right. Yeah.
And
most entry-level jobs, you don't really need 4 years of college.
Well, Elon Musk says that, like, for him, a college degree is just like, it's just proof that you have good work ethic and that you're intelligent. Mm-hmm. And it's a very costly way of proving it.
Right. True.
Yeah. But regardless, did you have like close friends at nursing school when you were in Philadelphia?
Well, growing up, people didn't move around as much. So my friends I met
from high school. A lot of them were still your friends when you were a nurse.
Yes, but
so you had
like
when
we moved into
circle.
Right. So the house that we moved into was new. Next to the state. I don't know if it's done. It's on one.
Yeah, I can walk on. So you ended up working pretty close in like northeast Philadelphia at a hospital northeast Philadelphia, or like within commuting distance.
Right. Well, the hospital itself was within commuting
distance of your original home.
Right. Yeah. And then back then there was multiple hospitals that were neighborhood hospitals. So just worked at different ones in that area and then up in the northeast.
You worked at multiple hospitals, so you were a floating nurse?
No, I wasn't a floating nurse. I did a year at a Catholic hospital, but then I moved on. I wanted to go into the bigger hospitals where they didn't have trauma centers back there. So, but the bigger hospitals had more critical care patients, had more intensive care with the doctors, the surgeons. They had neurosurgeons, cardiovascular surgeons. So the bigger hospitals had more experience.
Was it because it was more interesting, more compelling?
Yeah.
And you're helping.
It was more
patients?
challenging.
I can imagine it's definitely more challenging working in the ICU.
Right.
Because those are patients that are critically injured and might die, right?
Right.
In the ICU.
Right.
Car accidents, heart attacks.
Right. The heart attacks, the car accidents. Basically, it was car accidents. Back then we didn't know anything about drinking and driving, so there was a lot of young kids in accidents.
Kids in DUIs,
Yeah. Well, they didn't have DUIs back then.
We didn't have breathalyzers, I guess.
Nope.
So you didn't get.
No.
We just got the accident. You just got in trouble for that,
right.
But you didn't get a ticket for drinking and driving.
No, they didn't.
But then so that wasn't a thing in the.
Back in like 1960, 1970, no.
You graduated nursing school in 1976, right?
I was in 1975, graduated.
1977 graduated nursing school. Yeah. And that's interesting. They didn't have DUIs.
Well, that got, But
people knew you shouldn't. I mean, it's kind of common sense that if you're drunk, you shouldn't drive a vehicle.
Right. But, people didn't. But there wasn't, people didn't get pulled over and have breathalyzer tests or,
So all those laws came after the technology.
They came out, I think.
Yeah, no, automobiles for almost like, I guess they weren't really.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving was a big.
That came along.
Right, that came along.
And
there was
that helped
push,
create the laws against drunk driving.
Laws against, right. Yeah, it was the Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Why mothers against drunk driving? A lot of moms lose their kids to drunk driving.
I think that's what, I think that's what began the big push. was, yes, they started,
People who lost their children to
right, mothers, yeah.
drinking and
Exactly
driving.
what it said, mother against drunk driver, yes, a lot of it. Because a lot of teenagers got their license,
Then they got wasted. Then
and
they
then
drove
they
their
got drunk,
car
and they drove
90
the
miles
car,
per hour
yes.
into a telephone
Yeah.
pole.
Yep.
And then those mothers, I guess, formed that group and coalition
Right,
to do something about it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in the 1980s, you
I
started
had to
having
look, yeah, I don't remember
1980s
exactly
and
when. I do
1990s.
remember that was, when it came to the forefront, everybody's attention.
When did you meet Dad? What year was that? Was it
I
the
didn't,
1980s?
yeah, it was until the 80s,
Mid 1980s?
the late 80s.
So you're like
Yeah.
25 by then? Something?
I was probably now close to 30, I think, somewhere around 30.
That's pretty late to get married for your generation.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in getting married.
Oh, you weren't like really interested in boys when you were young enough?
No, I dated. I was dating, but in my 20s, I was more interested
In work?
in work, because I spent a lot of time, work was challenging, and I spent a lot of time working, and the money, I'd like to travel. In my 20s, I traveled.
So you traveled around the country, around the world?
I traveled around the United States. I took a summer off and traveled around the United States. I traveled to like Bermuda, Bahamas, like over to Hawaii, out to California, Colorado. So in my 20s, I spent working,
Kind of a free
spending my
spirit.
money,
Are you like a flower child? Do you have like
Yeah.
flowers in your hair?
Yeah.
You smoke pot with the hippies or something?
I was 60s, I was 70s.
Oh wait, so that was past like
Yeah,
the
that
whole
was,
hippie movement?
Yeah, we were in the 70s.
Because the 1970s wasn't like that big of a thing anymore.
No. Roxy, stop it.
I actually don't know that much about the 1970s. I know the 1960s because they're defined by the hippies and
the war.
The Vietnam War.
Yeah.
1980s, I know because of the end of the Cold War and like their style and stuff. I don't really know much about what happened in the 1970s. Who was president in the 1970s? George Bush?
Well, that's when
Or
in the 70s,
Nixon.
early 70s, when Nixon, and all that impeachment thing.
Yeah. Were you interested in politics at all, or did you
No.
not vote?
I mean, I knew about it, but no, I wasn't interested. I wasn't, everybody knew. I followed it in the news, but it wasn't, like I didn't have a passion for every day
Paying attention to it?
politics, right.
So you were drawn to, what do you like about traveling? You like seeing new places?
Just seeing new places, yeah. Just wanted to get out of just Philadelphia and home, see what else was out there.
You wanted to see the world, especially in
Yeah.
your 20s and stuff.
Yeah.
That's funny because like something I say at work is like after 5 years, once I have enough money for a mortgage, I want to spend a year traveling the globe.
Right.
Like before I settle down and look for like a wife and kids and all that, I'd like to spend a year like what Joe did, backpacking through Europe and stuff like that. It's very cheap, especially in certain countries where the dollar is worth so much more than their currency.
Right.
So you can stay in like their Airbnbs for like the equivalent of like $20 a night, in certain countries.
Yeah.
And you can go to France. I want to go and see even I guess when I have kids, if I have a successful career, I'd like to still take them on trips once they're old enough. To like different countries, like to Rome to see like the architecture there.
You have to
Greece.
see how the world is by then.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Everything's constantly changing. You don't know
Everything
what's
is
going to happen.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is you have to constantly update your knowledge in your industry, especially if you're in marketing, because social media is constantly changing, and the way you market and the way information is distributed is constantly changing.
Right.
So that's why you have continuing education, and the people that do best are people that are constantly learning, which I guess would be good for me because, I mean, I used to read books all the time. I got out of the habit of it after I got into the whole relationship kick, where I was in constantly in a relationship in one form or another. But I used to consume books, like in high school.
Right.
Like I read, postgraduate level books in freshman year. I was reading like The Singularities in the Air, Science of Good and Evil by Michael Shermer, books that like people that had PhDs would read. I was reading those books in freshman year of high school. I mean, really, in 7th grade, I probably should have started going to college. If the psychiatrist would have said that was an option, we knew that was an option, I would have probably been more comfortable. Since I was reading and writing at college level, I probably would have enjoyed taking college courses a lot more because they would have been challenging.
Right.
But regardless, yeah, I haven't read a book in such a long time besides I read 12 Rules for Life, but I'm going to read like a book every week. Every successful person, like the president always has like a book list. You know?
Yeah.
The president's always reading new books. CEOs are always reading new books. People that are successful tend to read a lot. So I think one of the things about me starting a career is at night, instead of like watching TV shows and movies, like reading about social media marketing, reading about the marketing industry, reading about changes in technology, reading about, how to use different technology, studying what makes videos go viral, studying books about psychology, negotiating, how to be a better orator, how to speak better, how to communicate more effectively. So if I start gaining that knowledge, I can list on LinkedIn the books that I'm reading. I can also write reviews of the books I read and put that on LinkedIn. And then hopefully, I found it quite easy to get people to do interviews. So that should work out. But anyway, enough about me. What did you? Are you eating? Are you gonna get the steak? Okay. Oh, it's not eating. I was gonna ask about when you met Dad. All right. Yeah, you better put that over it. She'll grab anything on that counter. So you met Dad, I would suppose in like mid-1980s, like right before you turned 30. Wait, was it like
30.
Is it like a bar or something? Like dancing?
Your father called it a bar, I called it a club. They had dancing.
Alright, so it was kind of like some of the bars in Wildwood.
Well, it was
North
Wildwood. It was Wildwood.
Oh, is it in Wildwood?
Yeah, by then I had moved down into, when I was 30, maybe 29, I moved into Grandma Summer Beach House in 16th Street.
Why did you decide to move to Cape May?
I moved to Wildwood from Philadelphia.
I mean, Cape May County.
Well, because I had spent a couple summers down here.
Yeah.
And I liked the summer, and then I got a job over at
Cape
the
Regional
hospital. Yes.
Oh, so you're working for them.
Down here. So, yeah, I decided that I wanted to stay here. My parents went back up to Philadelphia, and I just stayed.
Okay. But Mom kept the beach house. Grandma kept the beach house.
Yes.
And then, which bar was it? Do you remember the name?
It was called Brazzles.
Brazzles?
Brazzles, R-A-Z-Z-L-E-S.
What? Brazzles?
R-A-Z-Z.
Oh, Razzles.
Yes.
Okay. And that got taken over, I guess. And I guess that bar, is that bar still there in North Wildwood?
I don't think so.
Oh, I got turned now.
I don't know.
Dad was what? Dad was younger than you. Dad's younger.
Yes,
He's 5 years younger.
Yeah.
So you were 30, he was 25, I guess, and just out of the Navy.
Yeah, no, I guess, because I was older than 30. Because I traveled, I think I moved down, I must have moved down around 29 or 30, so I was here for a couple of years when I met your father. So I guess I was old, 31, maybe 32. Yeah, 31.
What year did you get married?
We got married right away. After we were together only about 6 months.
That's pretty fast.
Yep. Southie.
And you had the where did you have the wedding? At the zoo? Cape County
The
Zoo?
ceremony was at a gazebo there, and we went to the lobster house. We had the reception was at the lobster house. Okay. But yeah, it was outside wedding.
And so, were you the only one? So everyone else, like all your brothers and sisters, stayed in Philadelphia for the most part?
Yes.
Pretty much all of them stayed in Philadelphia?
They all did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they're all in Philly right now, right?
Well,
Did they all stay like in far northeast?
Yeah, Kathleen's is like right over the bridge. So she works at University of Penn. But her and Barry came over the bridge in Jersey.
But they're right over the bridge from... They're
Philadelphia.
Right
Yeah.
in like in the Camden area? Camden County?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not Camden County, Gloucester.
Gloucester County.
Yeah.
The same county as Glassboro?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, so they basically all stayed around that area. So
They all stayed, yes.
Dad also grew up in Philadelphia. Why was he in Cape May County?
Because he had been in the Navy.
Right.
And then...
For 6 years, I think? Or 4
Yes.
years? 6 years.
And then...
It's usually 6 years.
Right. So he had moved, I don't know what brought him down to Wildwood. I guess it was work. But his grandfather lived in Summers Point, and he was who he was close with.
Did you meet his dad, his grandfather?
Yeah, his dad was already dead. His dad died young of cancer.
Oh, even before you
Yes.
met him?
Yes, before I met Dad.
Dad died at 43.
43? That's really young.
Yes.
That's sad. But his mom's still alive.
Yeah, his mom's still alive.
Though I think her health is not as good as your mom's.
No.
Your mom's a lot healthier. Is Grandma doing better with her hip? She fell, right? That's why we couldn't have her 90th birthday party?
The 90th birthday was canceled because of COVID.
I thought she fell.
She had fallen, the Christmas before that. She had fallen.
I thought the reason it was canceled was because she had fallen.
No.
Oh, she had
Reason it was
fallen and then
canceled
she canceled because of COVID?
Everything got canceled, yeah. That was when everything was shut down.
So her
We couldn't have
90th
any
birthday was
parties.
never celebrated?
No. Well, we all met on the beach.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know you did that. So you saw Grandma and she was walking fine?
That summer, yeah.
Okay. Well, you should have invited me. I would have liked to go.
You were busy with,
Living, yeah, no, I was living in Wildwood. I was living in Wildwood.
I don't even know if you were down there yet or you were down in Florida. That was June.
Oh, yeah, I went down to
You
Florida
were
for a
down
little
in
bit.
Florida.
But that was a few days. And so last time you saw Grandma, she was walking around just fine.
Yeah, I saw her again this summer. That
So
was
she
last
recovered very well.
Yeah.
What was it, ankle?
No, she fell down steps. She broke a couple ribs, broke her shoulder.
But she healed up okay.
Well, she went to rehab, yeah.
And so she's still walking around and she's still as energetic as ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing that she's 9 years old and she's had that level of health. Very few people make it to 90 with that, being that lucid and having that
Right.
cognitive health.
Right.
Where she still can recall things and she's not, she's still all there. She doesn't have any Alzheimer's or dementia problems.
No.
And I guess that doesn't really run in our family too much.
No.
Yeah. Were you close with your sisters growing up?
I think, well, growing up, yeah. I mean, we were all in the same bedroom, so.
You all shared the same bedroom.
Back then.
How many? You had how many sisters?
Well, there was 4 girls and 4 boys.
4 girls and 4 boys. That was the norm back then.
That was the norm, yeah.
Yeah. So you had 3 sisters and 4 brothers.
Yes.
And who were you? The oldest?
No.
Youngest?
I was the third.
You were the third?
I was kind of in the middle. Yeah.
I see, you were the middle child. And so you had 2 older sisters.
No, older sister, older brother.
You were the third, so there were
Yeah.
the two
Joanne
sisters.
was the oldest, and
You
then
have
my
three
brother
sisters.
Bill.
Oh, you have three sisters. You have
Yeah.
three sisters. So.
I have one older and two younger sisters.
Oh, okay. So you were the second born daughter.
Yeah.
Second daughter.
Yeah.
So you had one older sister and two younger sisters.
Right.
Okay. So would you like look after your younger siblings growing up? So you're more towards the top, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you always did. Well, back then, like I said, the people that moved out of the neighborhood, everybody that moved into that neighborhood stayed the whole time we grew up. So every family was a big family, and everybody knew each other. So yes, the older children always watched out for the younger ones.
Yeah.
And then also the parents, the mothers were always home.
Yeah.
So the other parents always knew all the children in the neighborhood. So all the moms knew everybody too. So all the moms looked after all the children too.
Yeah. Some people have made social commentary saying that the rise of the dual income household and the loss of that, the mother being home and families not staying as tight knit, that's one of the things that are responsible for the mental health crisis we have in the country. Because, like, you don't have as many people like in your social circle. Like, if you grew up in the 1950s, 1960s, you'd have your brothers and sisters, you have your aunts and uncles. They would be in the same neighborhood. A lot of them.
Right.
You'd have about like 20 or 30 cousins.
Right.
So you'd have a lot of people to turn to for advice and people to hang out with, and you had like close knit, communities. Everybody knew each other. People went to church, and they would know each other from church and such. And there's like shared culture, and you had like your own little tribe basically, where you're growing up.
Well, yeah, people were, like I said, people that moved.
Yeah.
The same people that when you moved in at 3 and 4 were still there when you were.
But now